On to the reading for today, which is chapter 3, part 1. No one is liked by everyone or disliked by everyone. If you accept yourself as you are, you can live in a way that's true to yourself. Chapter 1. The vain wish to always look good makes your life difficult. The English word person comes from the Latin persona. Persona means mask. So the implication is that human beings are creatures that wear masks. When I first learned this in a high school English class, it was a huge shock. The reason was that I was very troubled about how to know which kind of face I should wear when dealing with my parents, teachers, classmates, or older kids in school. We have various selves which we show to various types of people. For example, we want to be well behaved in front of our parents. We want to be noticed and thought interesting by our friends. We want to make a good impression on our teachers. We want to maintain our boyfriend's or girlfriend's interest in us. We want to be regarded as able and talented by our colleagues and bosses at work. We want our subordinates or juniors to respect us, not see our shortcomings. We want to be seen as good fathers or mothers by our children and our neighbors. These wishes represent a kind of vanity on our part, the desire to look good. In order to satisfy this vanity of ours, we wear different or various kinds of masks depending on the context and the person we are dealing with. When we become able to use the different masks skillfully, we are said to have become adults. But if we are too concerned about looking good and wear too many masks for too long, we lose sight of our true face. When we do that, we no longer know just who or what we are, and sometimes lose sight of what we are really seeking and what we really want to do with our lives, and thus ultimately lose the power to live. I received the following letter asking for help from a woman in her 30s who was a reader of my email newsletter. Ever since childhood, I've spent my life suppressing my true feelings. I considered things not from the standpoint of what I wanted to do, but from the standpoint of what those around me wanted me to do. When someone asked me what has really aroused your enthusiasm in your life so far, I had no answer. I realized then for the first time that in my life I was only concerned with how I was regarded by those around me. I was always anxious, fearful, and lacking in self confidence, so I would pretend to be confident, moving further and further away from my true feelings. This woman had lived forcing herself to wear a mask in order to please those around her. Still, she was always afraid of the eyes of others, and her feelings of unease never left her. Then one day she came to realize that she no longer knew which was the mask and which was her true face. And it's not her problem alone. We too can feel stifled when we force ourselves to wear a mask too long. If the mask is too heavy, our neck starts to hurt, our shoulders grow stiff, and we seem about to collapse. It can happen that we lose sight of what we really want and what we really wish to do as a result of conforming too much to others' wishes. It's this kind of vanity that makes life hard for us. Because of it, people find it very hard to take off their masks. But in order to live happily, being true to yourself, it's important to try taking off the mask that has become stuck to your face. Not trying to always look good, is an important step in planting the seeds of living happily while being true to yourself. Okay, yeah, so this book was originally written in Japanese. So especially in some Asian countries, it is the culture to pay attention to what other people want. Yeah, which is important to some extent too. It's all about keeping that balance of how much we keep the harmony versus how much we are paying attention to who we truly are or who we want to be. Maybe in the Western cultures, yeah, I would say because people might not be engaged in this as much. So maybe they, in a sense, they assert themselves a little too much, and then they might be missing out on finding their true self because they're not open to hearing other people's comments or feedback or opinions. So finding that middle way is very important. Um, yeah, so in this story, it's about people who are always conforming to other people and they put other people's needs above their own and then they suffer. I think also people who watch the news a lot and they see how much this world needs help, um, they carry so much burden and the weight of all the suffering of the world on their shoulder, as if they're supposed to be like a Superman or a Wonder Woman to save the whole world. Like it says, that's what's gonna make us, our neck starts to hurt, our shoulders grow stiff, and we seem about to collapse because this mask is too heavy for us. Obviously, each one of us alone, we cannot save the world. We need to collaborate with other people. But I think when we are young, and if we are very sincere and sensitive about the world affairs, we feel like we have to do something and all by ourselves. And then we feel kind of powerless. Yeah. So instead of that, in Buddhism, first and foremost, we try to understand the workings of our own mind, why we suffer, each one of us. Why do I suffer? If I understand that deeply, we understand why there is suffering in the world at large, too. And if we really want to live in a world free of cruelty or suffering, we have to start with individuals. So us being the individual initially, and then individuals around us, like a grassroots movement. There is no other way to bring about peace. Yeah, we have to find that peace in our own heart, and then lead by example and be the light we want to see in the world. And first of all, asking ourselves, am I being true to myself? What does happiness mean to me? And what am I doing every day to obtain that true happiness? What am I doing? Um, yeah. So this is the message I think we get here. And I'm so happy we're able to gather here to practice together for our mental health and spiritual growth. Today's Tuesday. We will have advanced group session, 7 a.m. Pacific time, and have a wonderful day, everyone. Bye bye.